What if I were to suggest that you play a key role in the awakening world? And that you are watching this because you have heard the call. We can start right now by opening our hearts and minds. Welcome to the awakening world.
Good evening, everybody, and happy Wednesday to you. I am Love Coach Scott DeThomas, and it's the Awakening World. And we have a really fun show. We've got three wisdom keepers, all from three different generations. And that's a big part of what I love about who we are as an awakening world, is that wisdom comes in all forms, shapes, sizes, cultures, and ages. We're going to hear from our dear friend Rick Olfek, who is celebrating the 20th anniversary, 11 days of global unity. And so we're going to be hearing from Rick. And we're going to be meeting a new friend, Satara Faye, who I actually just met about 3 or 4 weeks ago, and she blew me away. And then also Oshala D. Marcus is going to be with us a little bit later. You all remember Oshala from the Marin City Arts and Culture Council. But we are going to start the show like we love to. It's a 3-song night. And the first of those songs from our wonderful house musical artist, Omashar, is going to be right about now. Welcome, brother.
Slightly delay there. I was just letting somebody in the room, and it's dear Therese from wherever she's from. And what a exciting night we have tonight. I'm really looking forward to it. I love it when we meet new guests with new angles of information. And here's a song called Bridging Heaven and Earth. And it's about shedding everything to allow the new to come in. And so without further ado, here we go.
Shed the cross of ages, revealing light within the fall. We share the joy in living, as finally we know. No thought about a future. This moment is all we have to know. We share the joy in living, As we walk on earth, we're building an eternity. Now all can see the way back home again, bridging heaven and earth. Whoa. And now the way is clearer as we rejoice in human fall. Our lives becoming dearer. There's truth in everyone. Our love is like a river to which the world can come to drink. An ocean went together, and with one mind we think. As we walk on earth, we're building an eternity. Now all can see the way back home again, bridging heaven and earth. We walk the path together, and hand in hand we grow, bridging heaven and earth.
And so I'll give a big twinkle to beloved Omar Shar. A beautiful way to get the show started, as he always does. So amazing. And a reminder that we can support Omar Shar by going to Bandcamp. And that's where you will find his wonderful albums, living and waiting for you. Just go to omarshar.bandcamp.com. And I also want to offer a big welcome to all of you who are watching on YouTube or on Facebook. A big thanks to John and Summer Raymer, who get us out to as many as 150 Facebook groups and pages and YouTube channels through the Sign Network, SINE. And for those of you who are watching, hey, come join us. It's easy to join the Global Peace Tribe. Just go to globalpeacetribe.com. You can learn all about us, all about the shows that we do, see what our upcoming shows are, which are right down here. There they are. And click register for the new season. That'll take you to our registration page, and you can come in at several different levels, as low as $22 for students and seniors. And that gets you the Zoom room links to all of our shows for the next 4 months. So now's a really good time to join the Global Peace Tribe. All right. We have wisdom keepers from 3 different generations tonight, and 3 different cultural backgrounds for that matter. And our first one is old friend Rick Ulfik. Rick is coming to us from New York City. And Rick, of course, is the founder, for those of you who don't know, of 11 Days of Global Unity. And 20-year anniversary, 20 years that Rick's been doing this. And he gets amazing people. We're going to hear all about what he's done. And most of all, we're going to learn about what's happening, because it's just about to take place. So welcome to back to the Awakening World. It's been a little while, Rick.
Yes.
And for people who don't know you, tell us briefly a little bit about the history of you and 11 Days of Global Unity.
Okay, sure. So, thank you so much, Scott. And as Scott mentioned, my name is Rick Ulfik. I'm the founder of We the World at we.net. It's all about we, right? The We campaign. And I'm the co-creator of 11 Days of Global Unity. And I'll just mention the person that I co-created it with 20 years ago is Troy Lush. He lives in San Francisco Bay Area. And so a little bit of background. We started 11 Days of Global Unity. It was because of the International Day of Peace being moved around on different dates by the UN. It was usually the start of the General Assembly meetings every September, generally the first Tuesday of September was the General Assembly meeting, and they called that the International Day of Peace because that General Assembly meeting, they would announce ceasefires that had taken place up to that time on that particular year. But the problem is that the peace community wanted to put it on a specific date, and they were trying to get the UN to put it on September 21st. It wasn't on the 21st all the time. So coming up to 2001, the General Assembly meeting for the UN was actually on the second Tuesday of 2001, which is the terrorist attack, right? So technically speaking, the International Day of Peace coincided with the terrorist attack of 2001. So the UN made a resolution that it went into effect in 2002 that the International Day of Peace would be on September 21st. So from that point, from September 11th, 2001 to going to September 21st, we called that 11 Days of Global Unity, kind of the journey from fear to hope. So so from September 11th to September 21st, that became 11 Days of Global Unity, and we did this amazing launch that took place, and it took a while to organize it. So we did this launch in 2004 after organizing for about a year and a half. And it was just an amazing thing that took place. You know, Jane Goodall was there at the launch in 2004, as well as Marianne Williamson. So they did kind of back-to-back keynote addresses. You know, Jane Goodall talked, brought her whole team up from Washington, D.C., and had young people creating and flying these giant peace doves in 125 countries. Marianne Williamson talked about starting a cabinet level Department of Peace. People maybe remember Dennis Kucinich, Dennis Kucinich was pushing that idea, and Marianne was helping to spread the word about that. It still hasn't happened, but it's possible, right? We had something called the Million Voice Choir with Gemma Bulos. She had she had choirs in 80 countries singing at 9 p.m. in every time zone, leading up to the choir that we had in New York with Jane Goodall on the stage with the choir, and Marianne Williamson, and also Amnesty International. So it was just an incredible launch. We had the Global Declaration of Interdependence, which Troy Lush did the first draft of that, and Marshall Rosenberg was the first to sign that. You remember him, right, Scott, with nonviolent communication?
Rick, I
So,
think you forgot we've talked about this. I traveled
yes,
with Marshall. Marshall was my friend.
exactly.
I had the great fortune to spend a lot of time with Marshall Rosenberg, and miss
Exactly.
him dearly. So, and
Yes.
and over the 20 years, it's extraordinary all the different people that you've had. And
Yes.
this year, you've got a great lineup. I'm kind of looking at all the people that you've got lined up, and a lot of them are
Yes.
friends of ours that have been on our show.
Can I share the screen and we
Yeah,
can
please
talk
do.
about that?
Yeah, please do.
Okay. So the first thing I wanted to show folks is this is kind of our, let me see if I can do that idea that you were talking about with the, can people see that?
Yeah, there you go.
This is like a legacy poster, so you can see all of the different things that have been happening with 11 Days since the start over the 20 years, and just amazing people, Arun Gandhi and Ralph Nader and Deepak Chopra, and the long list of folks. So maybe I can, I don't know if I can get to the other poster. Will that work?
Well, what you may want to do is close this one and then
Yeah.
reopen, reshare screen.
Okay. Oh, well,
Pretty
now
cool.
actually you saw this. You can see this banner,
Yes, we
right?
can. Yeah.
Okay, so maybe I can do that. And let's see if I can get to that other one. And one more. Let's see if I can do it. No, can't seem to. I may have to go back to the other thing to get there. So I'll go to the screen that has the speakers that we were talking about.
You know, I've got it pulled up right here, so I can do that for you. Here are the speakers that you've got for this week. And I'll go back to it again.
Right. And now this,
It's on a carousel, so we gotta find it again.
yeah.
There you go. Jane Goodall, Marty Casey. Marty was just on the show a couple weeks ago.
Yes.
Eisler, we love her. Fumi,
Right.
Tez, so many of our friends that are going to be on. So, now, what day does it actually start? What day does it start, Rick?
Yeah. So I'll give you the kind of overview. Let me see if I can go back to this thing.
That's okay.
So
Go ahead and just share with us, because I think
Yeah.
I don't want to spend so
Yeah.
much time fiddling around.
Yeah, fiddling. So we're going to start with Jane Goodall, which is amazing. And so it's like a preview with Jane going to, it's like a one-on-one conversation with Jane. And it's just amazing what she's been doing. And since she was there at the launch, she's back now. She's 90, She turned 90 in April, and she's been on an amazing journey with the in speaking in like 20 countries to global leaders and public. People can actually see her interview by going to we.net, register, and then it'll be happening on September 9th at noon and 6 p.m. Eastern. So that's Jane. And then we also have Dr. Rian Eisler. And I think people know who she is, but she's addressing making the transition from domination culture to partnership culture. And she will be addressing this us versus them culture of intolerance that we see around the world, but especially in the United States. So we'll have a great conversation with her September 10th at noon and 6 p.m. Eastern. And then we have the launch partners that include people like Deborah Moldau, Diane Williams, and Andrew Kane, and other folks. On September 11th, for the Unity Summit panel, we're going to have Steve Farrell, who is with the humanities team. I think you people probably know humanities team. And
Steve's been on the show a few times. Absolutely.
Yes. Yeah, he's amazing. And Audrey Kitagawa, the founder of the International Academy for Multicultural Cooperation. Sharon Ria, who has the No Judgment, Just Love movement, and you remember her in the past. Then we have members of the Foundation for Ethics and Meaning, which was started by Rabbi Michael Lerner. And I don't know if people realize this, but Rabbi Michael Lerner passed just a few days ago.
Yeah,
so I don't know if you knew that, Scott.
Yeah, we've had him on the show back in the Saturday Night Live for the Global Peace Tribe days, and I want to show people how they can register, because that's the most important thing. So when you go to 11 days of globalunity.org, 11 days of globalunity.org, that's where you can register, and that's where you can learn all about what they're doing. And you can learn more about the origins. There's Rick, all about the mission, all about the vision. You can also get the schedule. And there's always 11 themes: unity, interdependence, environment, economic justice, health and wellness, children and youth, women, human rights, freedom, disarmament, and peace.
Yes.
And, it's beautiful, all the people that you've had in the past. But what's most important is who you're going to have this year that we can go watch and enjoy.
And so, I wanted to particularly mention for economic justice, we have Bishop William Barber from the Poor People's Campaign, which is, he's dealing with inequality and getting out the vote for people of low income. So it's a very important discussion with him. I don't know if you've run across him, Scott.
No, I have not.
Yeah, he's on all the media. he's covered on CNN and all the mainstream media, but he's a very powerful speaker, and a lot of people think that he's stepping into this position that Martin Luther King Jr. had. In fact, MLK was the original starter of the Poor People's Campaign back in the 60s before he was assassinated.
Right.
But so William Barber, Bishop William Barber, is actually taking the reins in that way. But we have these other amazing folks too that we were just talking about. But I wanted to mention we have, for children and youth, we have an amazing person named Raheen Fatima, who is actually the children and youth campaign leader, and she's 16, and she's amazing. What an organizer, and she lives in Pakistan. And then others under women, we have Sandy Hart, the creator of the Global Women's Village, Jumana Risk with Peace Lights. And then we were talking about freedom. So Dr. Marty Casey is going to be on this panel with Freedom, with Ungun Institute, and she is on the U.S. Task Force on gun violence. And on the panel with her is Michael Wayne, who's a documentary filmmaker, and his film is about to come out. It's called How to Save Democracy, and
Wow.
that's so important, as we all know, right? And then we have Alan Ware, who lives in Europe, in Prague, about nuclear non-proliferation and disarmament, and the culmination on peace for September 21st, International Peace Day, is Fumi Johns Stewart and the Seven Sisters. So it'll be an extraordinary gathering of extraordinary women, with peace offerings with Fumi. May peace prevail on earth. We have Tessa Kaya Gabriel with Pathways to Peace, Nina Meyerhoff, Jennifer Kim with the Peace School, Monica Willard with the United Religions Initiative, Dot Maver with the Global Silent Minute, and Reverend Becky Suzik.
Yeah.
So they're
Thank you for sharing
incredible.
with us all these amazing people. And again, we can't remember all the names. The key is for people to register.
Right.
And I know that you've got a lot going on. I really am glad that you were able to start the show off, because we wanted to make sure everybody knew about 11 days of global unity.
Yes.
And I have so much appreciation for your dedication. 20 years. Congratulations.
Thank you. And I just want to say that dedication and commitment for you is so important for people to know about as well. There are a bunch of us in this club. We are dedicating our lives to this, right? And maybe you're the president of the club. I don't know.
No. But Susan Bloomquist just wrote to you, Rick, in the chat box. Thank you for being a peace hero, and that you are.
Thank you. I
Yes.
also want to mention trends in Global Grassroots Organizing Magazine, which is at trends.we.net. And that's a place where you can find out what's happening around the world with peace activists and social justice activists. And maybe we'll see an advertising for the Global Peace Tribe in Trends. I
Oh.
think I'm going to work to make that happen.
That'd be wonderful. I'll go to it so we can just show people real quickly. Here it is. If you go to trends.we.net, and there's World Unity Week, which of course we just recently celebrated, and
Yes.
Trends Magazine. So this is an important place to go to also. Trends.we.net.
Yes, and of course, we.net, you can do everything there. You can sign up for 11 Days of Global Unity there, but you can also get involved because it's so important. It's so important for us to join forces at this particular time in our history in the US and around the world, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Rick, we got to move on to our next person, but thank you so much for being with us and thank you for the wonderful work you're doing. And if you can stick around, we'd have a couple more Omashar songs and we're going to meet a wonderful new friend, Satara Faye. So hopefully you can stick around. Otherwise, I know you've got a lot going on to get ready for your program. So take care.
Okay. Love you all.
Love you too. Take care.
Thank you.
Amazing work that he's doing. God bless Rick. You know, September is Peace Month, and you've been hearing me talk about it. There's a lot going on with the International Day of Peace, which will be September 21st. And since I was on the show last week, one of the things that's kind of exciting is that I've been asked to host the San Francisco event. What's happening is Hubcast is a kind of a large global broadcast network, and they are going to be doing a broadcast 24 hours all around the world, seeing what's going on around the world having to do with peace, including Hiroshima, where our beloved brother Omashar, who I'm going to bring up right here, is going to be in Hiroshima with the Unite for Peace crew, along with Kristen Hoffman and Ben Bowler and a lot of our friends. And I have been asked to host the online event happening in San Francisco. So for any of you that are in the San Francisco Bay Area, I would love to invite you to come to San Francisco and join me live. And in a moment, Omashar is going to tell us about Japan. But here's what's happening on Saturday, September 21st. Come on down right in front of City Hall. And it's going to be a lot of wonderful music. And you know, Michaela Gaston, she's been on the show many times. Amazing Bright Lights. She's going to be the MC. Maria Moldar, she's been on our show. She's going to be playing music and all sorts of other amazing musical artists, dancers, presenters, even the mayor is going to be there. 1 minute of silence, being put on by Pathways to Peace, Tez Gabriel, who again has been on this show. So a lot of our friends, a lot of people you know coming together. For those of you who can't join us live, I will be hosting the San Francisco portion of the 24-hour program. In other words, it's going to be 24 hours on Hubcast of what's happening all around the world. And we'll periodically come to San Francisco and I'll be interviewing the different presenters and musical artists and also showing what's happening on the stage. And Omashar, tell us a little bit about at least whatever you know is going to be happening with you in Japan. You're muted, friend.
That's a great question. I have my cherry trees just lined up because we know we've already missed the cherry tree blossom, but I'm really looking forward to being there. It's going to be a cultural melding, and there's going to be 2 days of convergence in Tokyo, where we're meeting with a whole bunch of delegates from around the world. I've had to buy a suit. Can you believe that? I'm going to be in a suit and a tie, and we'll be discussing ecology and ecosystems and peace efforts around the world. And then we all bus to Mount Fuji, and we spend a couple of days in Mount Fuji. There's going to be 1,000 local Japanese people coming to Mount Fuji to join in with us in a beautiful concert there that will be hosted by Ben Bowler, and it'll be featuring Kristen Hoffman and Dana Tomasino and a bunch of other people who've been on the Awakening World, and of course myself. But my major joy, I think, is when we go to Hiroshima. I think that's the way. I think it's not Hiroshima, it's Hiroshima. I looked up how to pronounce it today, and there's going to be it's going to be kind of bittersweet, I think, because we're actually going to be having a concert on the spot, around the spot where the bomb was dropped. And I think it's going to be a very distilling moment as we take our piece into the heart of that place, because it's time to dispel it all, to rid it all. I know some people have a lot of attachment to what happened, and it is time to move on. No disrespect to anybody. It's just that we can go there and we can look into each other's eyes and feel that we all come from the same source. And from that perspective, sow some new seeds and move forward. And so I believe it's always in theory until the day arrives that I'm going to be at the concert playing a couple of Omish songs, which will be broadcast publicly through Hubcast around the planet. And so I'm pretty chuffed about that, and actually nervous-sighted. So it's my new word, nervous and excited at the same time. That's it, Scott.
Well, how about song number 2? And then we'll meet Satara Faye.
All right. That's going to be awesomely awesome. Thank you for listening to my rambling.
Thank you for rambling. We love your rambles.
Thank you. Actually, that's that. That's Ramble On! The open roads of this brand new start, the peace that flows through this loving heart, 'cause freedom comes with letting go. Life renewed, new seeds to sow. So take my hand, I'm with you now. Relax yourself, your furrowed brow. The past has gone, so say hello. No looking back, onward we go. And this is the life awaiting us. With family supporting us, the sword of truth has cleared the way for us to rise our brand new day. But to climb. No roads to walk, new roads, no reason why. It's time to smile and be as one with all of life, the golden sun. This is the life awaiting us, with family supporting us. The sword of truth has cleared the way for us to rise our brand new day. Cause freedom comes with letting go. This life renewed, new seeds to sow.
Twinkle, twinkle, big star that you are, Omar Shar.
Hey, that rhymed. You should
I
write
know, that just kind of flowed through right now.
a book.
I probably will.
Good. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. So, a few weeks ago, I had the good fortune to have a client who was having a kind of a combination of birthday celebration and retreat, and he invited me to come up and lead a ritual. And I went up there with my good friend Emily, and we had a great weekend. And while I was there, I met this extraordinary woman that I am so grateful to introduce you to. This is Satara Faye. And I'm going to read just a little bit about her, and then we're going to chat. She was named one of the top 5 female psychics in the US when she was 28 years old. One of the top 5 at age 28. She is truly a woman who walks in multiple worlds, but bridges them beautifully. She is just one of those people that is like, okay, this is someone who's going to make a big impact in our world. I'm sure she already has, and she's just getting started. And as most of you know, I've recently started a synergy circle in correlation with the Evolutionary Leaders Network. We're calling New Generation of Awakening World Leaders. And Satara is a good example of that. So I wanted to have her come on and share some of her magic, also some of your vision. The majority of the people who watch our show are older, and it's really inspiring and important for us to hear from you, a much younger generation that we are kind of passing the torch to. I apologize for not leaving the world in a better place. I'm doing my little part to make it as livable as possible for you and your generation. But I really have a tremendous amount of respect for who you are and the way you think. So welcome to the Awakening World.
Thank you. Yeah, I mean, I just have to say this container, it's so tender. I've like had little tears in my eyes because you all are just so like, I feel your light and I feel your tenderness and I feel your life, and it's like it's so beautiful. It's like it's really touching me. So, beyond being able to be a guest, here, I'm really honored and I'm really grateful to have this experience. So yeah, again, Scott, thank you. And thank you for the work that you're doing to pave the way and, lead as an example, this community of peace. It's so deeply felt and definitely not a conversation that we're having enough in the world. We need more conversations of peace. So yeah, I'm honored to be here.
Beautiful. When we were in Reno talking, you've had some extraordinary mystical experiences. And the good news is almost all the people in this audience can relate because we've been around the block. And most of us have also had some pretty amazing experiences. So this is a place where you can share everything and not have people be judged, but go, oh, wow, that's similar to my thing, or tell me more about this. And so tell us a little bit about some of the extraordinary life that you've lived so far.
Yeah, I appreciate the opportunity to do so. And, I came, as we say, out of the psychic closet when I was about 21 years old. And I began my journey as a public, out of the closet, professional psychic. For me, there was no hiding it. And also, when I found my way to psychic development, I'd already gotten my degree in psychology. And I got my degree in psychology because I had an extraordinary amount of questions about my dysfunctional family circumstances that I needed to have answered, right? So that wounded healer archetype was ripe for me at a very young age. I had my first past life memory came up when I was 12 years old. And I remember that day so vividly. It knocked me on my butt because I was just like, what? What just happened there? I am a born medium. So that means I communicate with beings that are outside of body. So that does include loved ones who have transitioned, spirit guides, baby beings, demons, angels, ETs, kind of the multidimensional grid of beings that are out there. And that started for me. I have my first real significant memory of that when I was about 9 years old. And then I basically did everything I could to turn it off. I ran to drugs, I ran to alcohol, I ran to make it go away, make it numb. And then eventually at around 21, I was on the dean's list, actually honor roll, paying my way through my tuition. And I just felt like there was something else in life, because that was also kind of like the peak of my partying and the peak of this, like, okay, how could I do both? And so there was a deeper yearning for me that was, there's got to be something more in this world. There just has to be something more. This can't be it. And that actually began my exploration and my journey to sobriety and my journey towards clarity, and really learning how to hone in and really respect this power that I was born with, but I did not know how to harness it. And so I have a lot of compassion for empaths, people that have been through the path of addiction because they feel so deeply and they don't know how to handle the feelings and the emotions. I have a lot of compassion for that. And also at the same time, I have no problem giving some tough love so that we can get to the get to the good part, let's get to the other side of that. The story that I feel really inspired to share today was actually when I started channeling light language. So light language is a language that you're not taught. You don't learn it. It's just simply activated. And so I went from not speaking it at all to, within a matter of 10 minutes, a full-blown activation of this language that I couldn't stop. I couldn't keep my mouth from moving. And it was very unexpected. I was by myself. I was completely sober, no medicines, no plant medicines, no nothing. I know a lot of people's light language comes in through ayahuasca journeys and that sort of thing. But for me, it was from a 6-minute YouTube video. It's just a little bit of curiosity. And this YouTube video completely opened my world in such a massive way. For me, that was my fourth real big, massive spiritual awakening. It happened actually on Leap Day of 2020. So it was right before March of 2020 when the world started shutting down. I happened to be in Bali at the time. My whole family's in the United States. And so it was a very high stress experience. are we all going to live? Are we all going to die? If I go back, am I going to bring COVID home to my family? What kind of responsibility? All of that going on. And then next thing I know, I got blasted with light language. And that night, it was really wild. I had this experience where I was sleeping and I had a lucid dream where I was in the room that my body was sleeping in. And I was aware that, I was standing next to the bed. I was aware that that was my body. And I saw lightning bolts like shooting out the bottom of my feet. And I could tell that it was like lightning bolts of healing and lightning bolts that were shifting the frequency and the consciousness of the space that we were in. And then I remembered Jesus was, and this was the first real vivid time that Jesus was there with me. Jesus was there, and then Archangel Michael was also on the side of my bed. And in the corner of the room were these super dark, like demonic entities. And I remember being protected, and I remembered like seeing the shield that was around me, and that there was a lot of, telepathic communication that was going on there. But a lot of it was for me, I think, to be able to really trust what was happening, because I knew a little bit about speaking in tongues, but I knew nothing about light language. And so for me to have that kind of like cataclysmic, instantaneous, full-blown activation, it was shattering to my ego structure. I mean, I'm sure you're all familiar with an ego death or two, but this one was probably one of the biggest ones of my life. And that was also when I was shown and told of Sitara. That day I was channeling for about 3 hours. I couldn't stop moving my mouth. I couldn't stop moving my tongue. It was like if I tried to stop speaking, I couldn't. It was like too much resistance. And in those 3 hours, a lot of visions came to me, a lot of insights, a lot of information was just, flooded with these downloads. And one of the things that was really interesting was that ever since I was a little girl, I would have these like visions of being or having like blue or purple skin and speaking to large auditorium's kind of the wrong word because the structure was a little different, but I think that's the closest word that we have to it. It was like large auditoriums of many different beings, many different species of intergalactic beings. And I would have this vision as a little girl, but I didn't understand it. I was like, oh, that's like a crazy imagination thing. And when I started channeling the light language, I started recognizing that these were like not past life as in past life human experiences, but they were past life as in soul memory experiences. And so in that awareness, I was also shown Sitara is who we know you as intergalactically. It was like Sitara is your soul name. So my birth name is Samantha. I think my parents got it very close. I think they were like right there. Samantha is a female version of Samuel, meaning channel of God or listener of God. And so for me as a channel and bringing light through language into this world, the interesting thing about shifting to Sitara, and there I could go on with about 7 different sub stories about that whole experience. But Sitara also means morning star. So it's like this breath of light that allows, it allows the illumination, kind of like a candle lighting a candle, right? It's instead of bringing in information and sharing it, the shift in my consciousness was more about the full embodiment of the light, the full embodiment of my light, the full embodiment of the source that we are all one with, and allowing that awareness to be felt in presence. And so that's why, for me being here with all of you tonight and in the dancing and the Om Mashar's beautiful music, it's like your light is so tangible in my heart, and it feels really good to be in a community that is clearly present with that essence of yourselves. That is absolutely undeniable, because I do think in my generation, I get frustrated, a little bit annoyed, because I'm like, come on, you guys, like, come on, come on, we got places to go. And it's really refreshing to feel your hearts in this way, and to just, yeah, I'm trying to articulate into words, but I think you know what I'm saying and what I mean by that. Um, so yeah, I'd love to, Scott, do you have anything that you'd like to highlight or any questions that I can kind of clarify in that
Yeah.
story?
Well, I'm noticing a lot of people are watching on Facebook, hundreds, which means that that's what a lot of people that probably aren't quite as familiar. So, how do you manage when you're having such extraordinary experiences, some of which
Mhm.
can be really intoxicating and some of which can be terrifying? What
Yes.
would be some tools you would suggest for people to stay centered and balanced in the midst of an Alice in Wonderland experience?
Yes. That's a great question. And if there's anything that I will preach until the cows come home, it is embodiment. It is embodiment, embodiment, embodiment. There is no way that any dark energies or dark manipulative frequencies, or I mean, we're seeing it in so many different ways in this world, and it's showing up in so many different ways. But it has everything to do with being very clear that you are one soul in one body, in no way, shape, or form. Like, I am a natural trance medium. So what Abraham does through Esther is trance mediumship. Basar, it's trance mediumship, meaning the spirit of Esther Hicks exits her body and allows Abraham to come through. And so that's a trance medium channel. That is a natural thing for me to do. And I have a lot to say about that in my own personal journey right now because I'm getting guidance to actually lean into it, because I've been so focused on, especially with my history with alcohol. I started first clearing entities or beings out of my body when I was 21, 21 or 22. And let me tell you, I really, really like to play and I really like to have fun. So waking up that young, I definitely threw my temper tantrums and I tried to go back to sleep as best I could, but it's futile. Um, and so one of the things that I've really learned, and one of the things that I really do encourage people to do, is to stay clear. Stay clear, stay clear, stay clear. Sobriety is clarity. If you are allowing yourself to dissociate in and out of your body in any way, shape, or form, it's leaving room for some of these darker energies to come into your field, and they can change your behavior, they can change your thoughts, they can change your choices. They actually can have a big influence on what we're doing. And actually, the next live masterclass that I'm leading that starts next week is called the Entity Clearing Masterclass. And I got the ping from Spirit to do that in June. And as a teacher, I know that I start receiving the lessons, the initiations for me to master whatever it is that I'm about to teach. And so when I got that ping, I'm like, oh no, like I'm in for it. And through July, the initiations that I went through were very intense and very strong. And at the end of the day, if I could simplify it into one tiny gold nugget, is that any space of fear, any space of distortion, any space of any weird or wonky energy, whether you're dealing with a person or you walk into a dark room and you don't feel quite comfortable, something's there sort of deal, it has everything to do with you owning your personal power. There is no room for codependency when you're clearing entities. There's no room for negotiations. This is how it's going to be. We're bringing in the light, and here's your options. You can choose to shift into your journey of the light, or we're going to have you, shuttle off with Archangel Michael and he's going to have his way, and like we're going to let that be what that is. But ultimately, what it comes down to is it's almost like just being a warm knife through butter. There's that scene in Aquaman when he's like going through the trenches, I don't know, the trenches of death or whatever they call it, and he's going down there and he ends up finding his mother, Nicole Kidman. But it's interesting because there's some times in my journey that I actually do feel like that in some ways. It's like being in this protected bubble when you know that there are, I don't want to say necessarily forces, but I know that you guys know what I'm talking about here. It's that there's these external energies or forces that are here to teach us to stand in our power. That's really the bottom line, is that they're there to teach us to stand in our power. If we buckle under fear, and if we buckle under I'm not worthy, or we buckle under I'm not good enough, or we buckle under whatever it is, that actually feeds that consciousness and gives it power. And so that's really, I would say, to boil it down as simply as possible, is that it just has everything to do with standing in your personal power. And a lot of people are really afraid to do that because we live in a very codependent society of not wanting to ruffle feathers and not wanting to speak up and not wanting to, push buttons, or, not wanting to go in with guns blazing. And I mean that metaphorically, obviously, in a peace conversation, but it is also that sometimes in order to evoke that peace, we need to stand in our power. We need to say no. We need to evoke that level of presence that says, this isn't right. And I'm not going, like, not on my watch. This isn't going to happen in front of me. And so that can happen in a microcosm kind of way, and it can happen in a bigger kind of way. And you've mentioned, I've heard Marianne Williamson's name mentioned a couple of times here. And, I have a very beautiful connection with her and her work. And I think she is such an epic spokesperson for that, especially in the political arena of, what a Department of Peace really is. And I know I just went microcosm to kind of microcosm, but it has everything to do with that. It has everything to do with being in our power, standing true to what we know is right on a moral basis, but also on a humanitarian basis. It's that there's this beauty of the light that we hold. And when we know that on an individual basis, that light can pierce through any distortion, any darkness. Every single person that's listening to this is a light worker in some way, shape, or form. Whether you resonate or identify with that as a term doesn't necessarily matter. It's that you are here because you are a bearer of light. You are here because you are here to bring the peaceful ease into this world and to be illuminaries. And that your illumination, your light, your presence, it will cut through anything and everything. The only reason and the only way that it won't is if you let it. And that's the key of us taking responsibility for our personal power. And that opens up Pandora's box. That opens up Pandora's box of how, where, why, how we would end up basically diluting what we came here to do. And so that's where my work really hits the road, is let's have those conversations. Let's deconstruct whatever happens so that we can stand in our personal power and mean it peacefully.
I want to read a few of the comments coming in. Carol Craig, who's one of our favorites, she's a teacher, travels all over the world. She wrote a few things. She said, we're old, but we're cool. And she goes on with, you're fascinating, Sitara. So glad you're here sharing with us. Light language is incredible. Wow. And she writes, I love Abraham Hicks with Esther. I listened to the episode, The Universe is Always Watching Out for Me. I love to start my days that way. Another comment comes in. I freaking ruffle feathers all the time, but I stand up to power, and I'm speaking out now more than ever lately. So how do you do that? Like, what's a tool for someone who's not found their power at the level you have? You're a very dynamic person. What are some baby steps people can take to finding their power, especially when they are, again, confronted with, and how do you determine whether it's a dark energy or not? There's another question for you. So there's two questions. Baby steps towards power and discerning dark energy from, I just am not familiar with that energy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so baby steps to owning your power, one word is forgiveness. It's that when you choose to let go of the tug of war that is keeping you in a low level frequency because of something that caused you pain in the past, you're going to be holding on to that. So I like to think of tug of war literally as, or for forgiveness, and why you're holding a grudge is that you're literally committing to being tied to this cord that attaches you to a person, place, or an event that caused you harm and caused you pain. that harm and that pain that you're holding on to and going, I will never forget, ends up being a subconscious magnet to return that lesson to you over and over and over again. So what I like, baby step one, and the reason that I found my resolve and the reason I found my strength is because I had a lot of things to forgive. I went through a lot of experience that I did not believe were worthy of my forgiveness. And to find that place of forgiveness within, that honor, that peace inside of my own heart, I believe amplified my power and strength in problem solving, in mediation, in, you know, I kind of think of myself as a spare tire in community. I know it's kind of funny to say that, but it's kind of like, okay, you guys go along. And then if shit hits the fan, like, count me in, like I'll come and step up to the plate sort of thing. But it really has to do for me with honoring that place of forgiveness and honoring that place that every single person in our lives has a role to play. And I mean this with so much love. My mother was the person who taught me. She was the one who was in my life to be in this role, to teach me a lot of this. And unfortunately, it happened through a lot of pain. And in my journey of finding my forgiveness for her, the person who brought me into this world, I had this vision of, she and I were out in the cosmos, and she was sitting next to me. She was getting ready to incarnate. This was like our last meeting before she was going to come into her body and become a child. And we were like reviewing our soul contract. And at this point, I had so much angst, so much rage, so much intense emotions towards her. And it was like, I recognized that she as a soul also chose to be in the role that she was for me, to help shape the character of who I need to be a voice in this world, to be a voice of the awakening of the divine feminine, to stand up for myself for in so many ways, that it was like in that moment, it was like the slate just washed completely clean. And I realized soul to soul that there was something really powerful that happened, because even her volunteering to be in that role for me was not easy for her. And it was just like this forgiveness and compassion just washed over me. And, you know, it hasn't been peachy keen and perfect since then. But what I can say is that having that awareness softened everything. It softened my heart exponentially. And I know that through that softness and also that awareness, it's like, it gave me a lot more of the understanding of how powerful compassion is and how powerful forgiveness is as a frequency, not just as an act and not just as a mindset and not just as, you know, a choice, but as a frequency alone. If you think of compassion is almost seen as a weakness, right? It's seen as like, ooh, you know, kindness, you get walked over sort of thing. But compassion itself as an energy, it will literally transmute on contact any force that comes towards it, because the compassion itself sees the hurt behind the force. And if you can see the hurt behind the force, it transmutes it immediately. And so it's through forgiveness and through the embodiment of compassion. I know you asked for some baby steps, but, you know, writing a forgiveness letter at night is a baby step to allowing that softening to happen, and knowing that the softening is actually where your greatest strength is.
Beautiful. Well, believe it or not, our time has flown by, but I want to let people know how they can get more of you. And it's by going to her website, and her website is monadsociety.com. monadsociety.com, and definitely do what I'm doing right now, put in your name and your email address. And are you doing psychic readings for people at this time?
You know, I've really slowed down on doing one-to-ones. I do every now and then, but I host live virtual masterclass. And so that I'm very active on Instagram. I got put in Facebook jail a few times during the pandemic, so I have a love-hate relationship with Facebook. It's difficult for me to be on there. Speaking of forgiveness.
So it's so good you got in jail, though. That's a good sign. I love that you got in jail. Yes.
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 You know, it's really ironic because I think that's what actually woke up my father. I think that's what started his spiritual awakening was him going, wait a second. Because I had a page that had over 100,000 followers on Facebook. I had a group that had over 10,000 people in it. I had spent years growing it and it gone, no explanation, no like, ugh, it was a bad day. Bad day. led me through a whole other journey. But I am very active on Instagram. I go live on Instagram probably twice a week. That's where I host my 3-day classes. You can, and that's at satara.speaks.
Satara.speaks on
Yes.
Instagram. Okay.
And I did, for those of you that are in the Zoom room, I did go ahead and put another link that's actually a freebie. I mostly do business coaching. I do wealth and abundance coaching and business coaching for intuitives. I believe that the world is going to be a much better place when healers and open-hearted people have more money and have gotten through the broke healer archetype. So that has been an encoding that I was blessed with, and at the same time, the lessons that I endured and went through to embody those practices. I say it with a little sheepishness because it was no easy feat. But ultimately, that's mostly what I focus on. But for those of you that are interested in the awakening and the meditations, the monadsociety.com/blog. You'll find all sorts of different things there, but /blog/higher self is one that you'll also find, I think, very, very beautiful, very beneficial. It's like a warm hug and does have a lot of light language in it as well.
Beautiful. Well, I'm going to read a few of the comments coming in, and then we're going to meet Oshala. Susan Bloomquist writes, I certainly agree with the economic rise of the healer. And Oshala, who we're about to meet, is acknowledging that Facebook is not exactly all about empowering us, blessing you for your truth. And Karen writes, she met Abraham and she met the Hicks when Jerry was still alive. And she had a very unusual experience once while listening to one of their tapes while driving. Well, you'll have to tell us about that. Susan is appreciating just that you talk about the universal lesson of forgiveness. Thank you, Susan. And Grace actually has a question. There's 2 questions here. So the question, I'll tell you what they are. You can think about your answer while I give a couple more comments. Grace is wanting to know, what about when it's a present condition? And Scotty Satori wants to know, how about when you're sleeping? What are your techniques for protecting yourself? Eleanor Joy also wrote, your light is so bright, I almost need sunglasses. And Grace writes, thank you so much, Satara Faye. Very powerful, beautiful, and inspiring. And Omar Shah writes, powerfully spoken, Satara. And so true. Thank you for your illumination. You are blazing. So people are appreciating you. Grace writes, the power of compassion. What would be your fairly quick responses, because we got to get to our Oshala, to those 2 questions?
I'm not quite clear on the presence one, if I could get a reframe so that I know that I can answer that properly. What I do before I go to sleep, I basically will put golden roses in the corner of the ceiling and the floor, and I draw lines in the square boxes, the X's across the room, and basically just put myself in a golden box container. And I allow that to just be my golden healing box. If I feel that I need extra protection, if I'm in a weird space, I will call on a guardian, one of my guardians, and ask them to be there. But for the most part, just that gold box seems to be enough for me. Clears any questions I have.
Beautiful. All right. Oshala is loving the power wands behind you. And so I'm going to actually bring up Oshala and keep you on camera. So Oshala meets Satara Faye. Satara Faye meet Oshala. Oshala, one of the things that I talked about that was kind of cool about tonight's show is we're celebrating 3 wisdom keepers, yourself, Satara Fay, and earlier Rick Ulfik. And you're all actually from different generations. So it's kind of cool having three generations, three different cultures, three different ages. But all three of you are people that I have a lot of love and respect for. So we're going to transition into Oshala time. Satara, thank you so much for your presence on the show, your presence in our world. And I hope you can stick around and hear what Oshala has to say, because
I'm here for it.
all right, cool. Well, welcome. How did your earlier program go tonight, Oshala?
It went well. It was well attended, so I'm glad that I went. I'm, greeted a lot of people and then got on the road. So, yeah, our life in the modern world, and I'm grateful that I am able to navigate it, coming from that place of gratitude for sure.
Well, some of you remember Oshala because she's been on the show before. She is one of my oldest friends. We've known each other. I think we figured out we're close to 40 years now, aren't we?
Yes, indeed.
Yep. She was very young when we met. She's a performer, a dancer, committed to amplifying the teaching and entrepreneurial presence of underserved individuals and communities, working with educational, nonprofit, and public institutions to uplift culturally relevant and socially inspiring curriculum for all ages. And specifically, what would your title be? Are you the founder of the Marin City Arts and Culture?
People will say that. Yeah, I'll take that on. Yes. It's an evolution. What I do is an evolution of who I am and who I have been. And so working with artists and amplifying artists' voices is what I have ended up. Who I have been on the inside has just birthed itself fully on the outside. So everything that I'm doing now is exponential to what I've been doing all my life. And that is expressing myself through the arts, and also through entrepreneurship, because artists by our nature are entrepreneurs. So speaking of, what Sierra was saying about amplifying, really learning the art of being financially sustainable is really, really important. And so that I feel like I am one of those platforms to assist other artists in doing that, and assist other people on that inside game of how to create that wealth from the inside out.
Amazing. You are an incredible actress, dancer, entrepreneur. And interesting because Satara was also just talking about how she works with healers and psychics to become more entrepreneurial and more successful. So what's something you're proud of as an entrepreneur? I know what you've accomplished, but what's something that you've got some pride around that you'd be willing to share?
All of a sudden, what I'm proud of is that the power of the manifestation that has come through me. 5 years ago, I was living, me and my man were living in an SRO. For those of you that don't know what an SRO is, it's a single room occupancy.
Wow.
In the heart of downtown Oakland. So in the heart of the hood, literally right down the street from Jack in the Box, where everybody was hanging out on the street. It was just, you could just tell that, the city was just dumping just so much in that one block area. There was a building that was being built so high. I'm like, what the world are they doing to build something that high? And to see it going up and up and up, and people living on the street, literally in tents, sitting in wheelchairs. That dichotomy, seeing the birds in the garbage vats. That was our reality. And yet when I came home into my little room, it was 100 square feet room, and my man had a 100 square foot room, and we lived next to another person that had a 100 square foot room. I was so grateful for the roof over my head. And I had made a conscious choice to move out of Marin County at the time because the rents just kept going up and up and up and up and up. It's like, why? Did you change my doorknobs to gold all of a sudden? So I was like, I'd rather invest in a car and be able to commute and then really network and really focus. I retired from my body work practice, not my yoga practice, but my body work practice at that time. And I said, I'm really going to make that transition into expanding my work in the arts, which I had always done, but it was maybe 30% of what I did. And then I was making my living doing body work therapy. So I switched that around during that time. So what I'm proud of, I had to put that in there as a background. So what I'm proud of now is where I'm standing. From that reality, which was the same inner reality, which was one of gratitude. I live in a live workspace. Literally live in a wellness space, Sekhmet Community Wellness, where, and this is on top of the gallery. So it's, 1,800 square feet downstairs, 1,800 feet upstairs of a space that supports wellness. It's an community acupuncture clinic. Our art is from our artists. All the art that you see around me is from our artists. I have a far infrared sauna, like all those material things, but they didn't come from material. They didn't come from the material. Because if someone had visited me 5 years ago, they would have been like, oh, poor Oshala. Oh, I hope you guys get it together one day, right? But it didn't. But that didn't come from the external. It came from the internal, and so it's just evidence that it did. So my physical surroundings are just what we need. And it supports other people coming into it, feeling good in the space. But it was an inner journey to come here and giving thanks for even that little SRO, living next door to a hoarder, living next door to greedy capitalists that were like destroying downtown Oakland, to a space that was peaceful. We lived over a nightclub that was shaking. The things were falling off of our walls. I mean, it was the exact opposite of where we live now. So I would say, yeah, the what I'm proud of is the I am principle that is inside. That's what I'm proud of.
Beautiful. Well, I'm going to take people on a little online journey to the Marin City Arts and Culture website. So I pulled it up, and then maybe you can direct me around a little bit. And to find out, to go there directly, everybody, you go to marinarts.org. Marinarts.org. There's
It's no, it's not marinarts.org, Scott. It's mcartsandculture.com. You're on someone else's website, which is fine, but that's not our website.
Well,
it's MC Arts and Culture, to spell it out. There you go.
Well,
that's us.
The other one, that's what comes up when you Google it. That other thing is what comes up when I Googled you.
Yeah, Marin City. Yeah, I'll check out. I'll make sure our SRO. We've been closed for a year because we had to relocate our presence, and we were in the shopping center as a pop-up artist collective. So we had to move, and we're moving into a new spot, and we are in that spot, but now we're renovating. There's a lot going on, but we've still kept our community presence, and I still do things. Before there was the gallery, there was me doing stuff with the artists, and now that the gallery is reopening, I'm still here. I'm the presence that people see, or the face of it all, but we have a lot of artists that we represent. Yeah. Right in the shopping center, Christy. We're right next to the grocery outlet.
Beautiful. I've got to visit you now that I'm back in Marin.
You do. And everybody on here, we're having a monthly farm to table feast. So we'll be featuring organic food from the best of the local gardens in Marin City and throughout Marin County. So local gardeners, local farmers, for vegetarian food and vegan food, and maybe even local fish markets. This depends. But we're also featuring different foods from the African diaspora. So one farm to table, it may be farm to table Ethiopian food, one farm to table Jamaican food, farm to table Ghanaian food. All foods from the African diaspora will be featuring in that, in addition to local desserts. We have 3 local coffee artisans. Well, they're local within the communities that they're local to. So we feature, we connect with artists throughout the African diaspora, Marin City being our local root base, because that's where I'm from. But we feel very strongly about, because Mama Africa was so fragmented and we were like scattered all throughout the world, we're looking at that as a strength now, that we were scattered all over, but now the power is us coming together because we're everywhere. So what does that really look like to come together? It's a powerful threat to some, to the power structure, but we're making it work.
So wants to know, sounds delicious. When is the next farm to table? When's the next one?
Well, we're reopening at the end of September. So right now, literally, the electrician is going to be coming in and doing stuff. So we're going to be having our soft opening at the end of September, mid-October. We'll be having our grand opening. So I would say save the website, go to the website, sign up to be on our mailing list.
Okay,
that's the best way, because I just got an artist engagement person. Somebody, if you scroll down, I believe, contact, or maybe.
Yeah, here we go.
Yeah, subscribe. Just put your email in there, and then just subscribe, and you will be on that mailing list. People rent the gallery, so it's really nice if you're having a small party or meeting. You're surrounded by beautiful art and just really good vibes.
Beautiful. Now, in the past, when I had you on before, we took a look at a lot of the artists that you're supporting.
Yes, if you go to About Us,
I will do
who
that.
who we are.
All right.
You'll see. And you're seeing just a fraction, because I've been wearing so many hats for the past year. And I just literally brought on a 20-something assistant. She's going to be doing my artist engagement. So, I have literally like 50 artists waiting in the wings to be able to come on board. Everybody has their different stories on here. David Johnson, he just passed recently. But I love that we still have his picture. He's a bedrock. And at the Juneteenth Festival, he won an award. Not an award, but we recognized him as one of our oldest elders in the community. And so he was able to get his jar of honey and his 100% pure cotton scarf to go around his neck, the honey representing that this is the time in your life for sweetness, and may you be warm as you continue to live. So we recognize the youngest, and I think our youngest the last festival that we had, the youngest was, I think the youngest was just about to pop out. Pop out. No. The youngest was 2 weeks old.
Wow.
Yeah, they were 2 weeks. So they actually didn't get to come to the festival, but the mother was representing and got the mudcloth blanket that gets softer over time. So by the time the young person is in their 20s, they can maybe cut it out. It can be a dress, it can be an outfit, but it gets softer over time. So in the beginning, it can use it as a swaddle. As they get older, it can be used as a comfort blanket. As they come into their teen years, it can be used as a head wrap. As they get older, it can be used as a little cute top or whatever. But we give them that, and we give them something bitter, something with dandelion root in it, because dandelion represents that, you're going to have bitter in your life. You're going to have bitter. We as elders, we can guarantee that you're going to have bitter, but it's going to be all right. It's going to be okay, because when you get to be the elder, you're going to get some honey. because it's going to get sweet too.
Yeah, beautiful. Oshala, I so love what you do, and I'm going to read a lot of comments coming in. Uh, Christy points out dandelion is a health tonic.
Yes, it is,
Bill
Christy.
Craig
Thank you.
writes, you just gave me goosebumps. A scarf to keep you warm and honey to ensure you're sweet in your days towards the end of your life. That touched Carol. Susan wants to know what fabric.
Mud cloth. So if you research mud cloth that comes from Mali, mud cloth is one of those fabrics that never has been commercialized. And mud cloth is made in Mali literally from the cotton that the artisans piece together. It's very, very fine, thick cotton, and they dye it with indigo, traditional indigo dyes, and they sew it together by hand, and then the patterns come from literally putting it in the mud with shells and leaves, different ways that it gets its fabric. If someone types in mud cloth, you'll see it's amazing, but it's just unique, and you can only get mud cloth from Mali. It's truly an artisan fabric. It's an artisan textile.
Beautiful. And Grace writes, Oshala, you are wonderfully inspiring. You have an amazing attitude and you're so generous and strong, and what you're doing is incredible. Susan writes, so you are sharing that your experience of caring for all has resulted in getting good economic reflection.
It's coming. It expands bit by bit, but yes. Yeah, because in the beginning, Scott knew me when I was like in my 20s. It's the process of doing what you're called to do, but at the same time, you're tasked with things that you're just supposed to do. Like you're supposed to take care of children. You're supposed to take care of your community. That's what you've been given. If that can be a joy and not a job, then ultimately it goes. It's like beauty. Everybody's beautiful when they're a baby, right? And then life etches on you. You get different things being etched on your face over time, right? And as you get older, those etchings are very magical marks that become set on your face, and over time, what we do that give us that joy on the inside, and that as we begin to cultivate ourselves, that beauty comes back out again on the outside. I really believe that.
Imagining one of our people put this in the chat box.
Yay! That's mud cloth. That's mud cloth.
Wow.
That was completely handmade, and all those fabrics were done in the mud.
Wow. That's very, very cool. Thank you, Carol, for pulling that up.
Thank you, Carol.
We appreciate that. Here's one more, again, another example of mud cloth.
Oh, somebody's like out there. Yep, there it is. That's with indigo.
Wow.
Yeah. That's cowrie shells. Those are all cowrie shell designs that I'm seeing.
Wow. All right.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for pulling those up. See, our people are on top of it.
You guys are on top of it.
Well, Oshala, I definitely, as soon as you have your date for your opening and your farm to table thing, please text me the date. If at all possible, I will be there, and I will bring many Global Peace Tribers.
Bring the tribe. Bring them down. I want to. How many of you like to dance? Raise your hand. Either just raise your hand. How many of you like to wave your hands?
Yes, stick around you to see them dancing.
Okay.
Yeah, there's Ellen Joy. She raised her hand because she's our.
She said, Christy said she'll be there. So let me give you a little inspiration. So one of our fundraisers, because we do need to, we're in a major fundraising in the next 3 months. in order to continue to have this gallery. And our aim is to be sustainable, obviously, to be able to sell art. I'm asking every artist that comes on, what would you have to do if you needed to pay rent on a gallery? What would you need to do? How much art would you need to sell? So it's an ongoing conversation on how artists can sustain themselves. And at the same time, we look to patrons, we look to endowments, we look to a lot of different sources at the same time. But one of the fundraisers is a dance-a-thon. So we have a dance-a-thon. There's 3 ways that you can participate in the dance-a-thon. You can come to the dance-a-thon, and it's going to go like all day. It will start in the afternoon. It will go all the way until 10 o'clock at night. 3 ways you can participate. 1, you can dance to the music of your choice. 2, you can dance with the director, because we'll have a playlist. So you can come on and be sponsored by your friends. So your friends will come there and you can take your pictures of here's my friend who's dancing, and your friends will sponsor you at whatever level. So it's kind of like your own personal fan club of people who can come and say, hey, Sierra, look at her. She's at the MC Arts Gallery. We're sponsoring her at the $50 level to dance. And then Sierra will send out her pictures to her tribe, her fans, of her dancing. So that's one way to participate. The other way to participate is people can sign up to dance with the director of MC Arts and Culture, and they can choose a style. It can be tango, it can be salsa, it can be R&B, it could be freestyle, it could be contact improv. And then, so it's kind of like a test to see how many dance styles does Oshala know anyway. And so I'm the director, so you guys will get a chance, someone will get a chance to dance with me for however many dances, and then you can pay for that, or your fan club can pay for that. So it would be a whole, you are dancing with Oshala, the director of MC Arts and Culture, dance diva of the gallery, right? And then the other way you can participate is just to come and watch, and you will buy a ticket to be in and enjoy the festivities. So there's 3 ways to participate. So no excuse.
So definitely
don't dance.
be apprised, and I will add it to my Global Peace Tribe announcements, which you're about to see in a few minutes. I'm going to do Global Peace Tribe announcements.
Good.
And one of those I mentioned before you came on, Oshala. But again, Oshala is going to be one of my co-hosts on September 21st when we're all in San Francisco for this really, really cool peace event that's going to be happening. And so when I was first asked to do this right away, the first person I thought of was Oshala, because I wanted to have someone who's local and is an artist. And so Oshala, here is where we're going to be on September 21st. She's going to join me for part of it. Michaela Gaston, who has been on the show many, many times, is going to be the MC. Maria Baldar will be one of the musical artists. There's going to be several other musical artists playing. Dancers will be meditating for peace, and come join Oshala and I in person in San Francisco, right in front of City Hall on Saturday, September 21st.
And Scott, I just want to acknowledge you for doing this at a time when the world is so not at peace. But, when we look at the environment that we're in, the game has always been about dividing us. So if I were to leave anything tonight, that I do feel strongly that the arts are part of bringing us together. Unspoken, sometimes that's unspoken. But also anytime you see any entity that is attempting to divide you, even if you feel like you're on the good side of the divide, like, oh, we're the good guys and they're the bad guys. Look up and see who is telling you that they're the bad guy and they're the good guy. I want to know who's trying to kill me. I want to know. It's like, come on, let's have a conversation. And usually out of that conversation, you find, you know what? I've been a little bamboozled. I've been a little lied to, because, what's being said about you is not really what you're talking about now. I learned that when I went to Russia. Scott, you remember Peace Child?
Yeah,
I
of
went
course.
to Russia and just, people, when I came back, people were like, did the KGB follow you? I was like, "Well, I like to think I'm important, but I don't think I was that important." But it just the perceptions that we have about people and places, it's just so, it's just, Malcolm said bamboozle, gaslighting is the latest term. 95% of it, whether you're in on the red side or whether you're on the blue side, that's not even it. It's about the stadium. It's like, who owns the stadium? That's all. I just had to say that.
No,
I had to say
I'm
that.
I'm glad you said it because there are forces that are putting tremendous energy into creating division. So those who are on blue get lots and lots and lots and lots and lots of blue evidence. And those who are red get lots and lots and lots and lots of red evidence. Take any day, go to Fox News, see what they're saying, and then go to CNN and see what they're saying. And it's fascinating to see how each one spins the same story towards what their audience wants to see and read. Anyway, you're right. Today I spent 2 hours on a Zoom call. A number of us are putting together a very big event on Monday, November 11th. And it's a call for unity. And we're collaborating with Adrian Valera. He's bringing in some great musical artists, Rising Appalachia, and we're going to have Elizabeth April, and we're going to have some, real major leaders all coming together for 4 hours on November 11th, which of course will be about 5 days after the election.
Oh, goodness, Gray. Oh.
Well, yeah, that's the whole point. That's why we're doing it. Because no matter what happens on election day, there's going to be a lot of anger, a lot of division, a lot of story about
Oh, gosh, yeah.
Whoever won, the other people are going to believe that it was stolen.
Right. Oh, my goodness.
So we're doing a big online event, which we're calling it a call to unity. So, and I spent 2 hours on the phone with Deborah Giusti and Adrian and Michelle Anderson as we're kind of putting this thing together. So you're right. It's really important for us to go back to being able to talk to people that have different ways of thinking.
I mean, whatever happened to the art of debate? It was like purposely taken out of schools. Civics was purposely taken out. I'm just going to ask everybody a question to at least leave with my what I'm saying. Think about your life through the last 20 years. Every year of your life, 20 years. Every 4 years when we go through this kind of comedy show, I'm going to just call it what it is. Every 4 years when we go to this comedy show and we're asked to get so emotionally, red, blue, Has your life changed that much between whether it was, even the ones that I maybe leaned a little bit more to in a long time ago? Is your life better or worse based on that particular person, or that you got so emotionally invested in, or is your life changed because of your own spiritual understanding of your own path and the powers that are around you that are controlling the rents, that are controlling the narrative, that, like how much has your rent gone up over time, and how much was that really responsible of the person that you voted in as president? And when you start looking at that, it's like, no, there's some other tricky stuff going on here. And that it's like three card Annie, it's like, okay, let's do this. While you're looking up here, we're going to be doing this down here. So that's all I wanted to say on that one. It's just, we're just being bamboozled and gaslit lit. And people are making good comments, Scott.
Yeah, I see that. So I agree with you, and thank you, Charlotte, for bringing that up.
Yeah.
All right, we're going to go to something a little bit more positive here. But what you're saying is true. But we are going to talk about a few important Global Peace Tribe announcements. But one last time, just want to encourage everybody to go to her website, which is Marin City Arts and Culture. That's the name of the organization. And where are you? I had your website up here a moment ago. Where'd it go? Here we are. I also love just how many artists. I'm remembering in previous shows when we had some of these people on with us. There we go. Back to you. We had Ricardo. Remember we had Ricardo on with us.
Oh yeah, Ricardo was on.
And Lumumba. I remember Lumumba.
Lumumba, bless his heart.
Is he still with us?
Yes, he is. After being in prison for 41 years and then hitting the ground out of it, that experience, like right in smack dab in the middle of COVID, and then working for Urban Alchemy out on the streets, kind of like helping the people who are most affected by drug abuse and gang violence. He's been going through it, so he hasn't been able to do his art as much. So we're really supporting him to keep his, him going in terms of creating his art. But he's still there. He's still doing his thing.
Okay. God bless you, Oshala. God bless you.
Thank you.
Stick around because we're going to have an Omashar song, and since you love to dance, it's going to be a good dance song. So stick around for that.
All right.
A couple of quick announcements. We're still putting together our presenters for this Saturday night, but I can tell you that it's going to be another collaboration with Alan Steinfeld and bringing you the latest of what's going on with the whole UFO thing. JJ and Desiree Hertok are going to be with us, and Alan's lining up some new guests that you haven't met before. So that's going to be pretty cool. There's going to be some things happening in the Bay Area. So for those of you that are in the Bay Area, please put these dates into your calendar and come join me. You remember Ray Amana? She's been on the show several times recently. She's going to be coming down from Nevada City, where she lives, and doing an evening at the Sunrise Center, Songs for the Earth, a voice activation evening. And she sings, she gets us to sing. I'm not a singer, but she gets us all to open our mouths and good things come out. And it's fun. And I'll, of course, be there with her. And that's on September 12th, Thursday night, September 12th. So definitely want to encourage you to share this if possible. I'm going to mute you, Charla. And then many of you know that I've got an alternate life of being a love coach. And Lori Grace asked me if I'd do some teaching at Sunrise Center. So I'm bringing on my good friend, Emily Orem, and we are going to be doing an event together on Friday night, September 27th, on healthy relationship practices, basically how to go from kind of those codependent patterns we get locked into where we become too dependent on another to meet our needs, learning how to self-source and to be interdependent, not independent, but interdependent. And it's something that really Emily is masterful at. So that's why I wanted to include her in this. And that's going to be Friday night, the 27th. And then we're going to have a really beautiful puja. Now, when Emily and I do pujas, it's really pretty much just seeing, we stand, we take turns eye gazing into the eyes of different people there. And it's beautiful because you begin to see the divinity of all of us. And then the last big announcement, and I don't have a poster for it, but people have been wondering when's going to be the next Global Peace Tribe Retreat. Well, I had a long Zoom call with Louisa Stowe, and many of you know she and her husband has spent the last 2 years building a retreat center. Some of you saw it when we had our last retreat in Sedona. You'll remember we went out, we visited, Omashar was with us, and we visited Louisa, and we were there for her kind of baptism. What was this? What do they call that, Omashar? Hopefully you'll remember. What do they call that she did? We were all there. Whoops. Anyway, we were there for her kind of christening of her new land, and they have been building it. And she took me on a video tour. Omashar, wait till you see how gorgeous this place is. Like I figured, okay, it's going to be cool, but it'll be rustic. No, I mean, it's like really amazing what she's created. And we are going to be their first retreat. She's going to have friends come in a week before we would come in, just to kind of kick it off. But we have scheduled November 7 to 11 in Sedona at her amazing location. So put those dates in your calendar. I'll be sending out a questionnaire to people. Love to get people's feedback of what you'd like to experience during those days. Omashar, will you be with us?
Hang on a minute.
Can't hear you yet.
That's because I changed my mic source for the waltz that I'm going to play. It's not going to be a rock song. But yes, that is interesting because I've just been invited to an all expenses trip to Peru, and it does not, for like 10 days, and it doesn't conflict. Right? Holy smoke. I was sweating too, because I would love to be there, especially at that site. It's amazing. It's just outside Sedona, and the presence of the land itself is phenomenal. I forget what it was that she was handing over at that time. There's some fancy word for it, but that'll be amazing.
I'm putting it into the chat box. So everybody put November 7 to 11 in Sedona. I'll be sending out an email with kind of a survey, get your input and your feedback. I am going to bring our guests that we had up, Satara Faye and Oshala, back up one more time. I think Rick took off. Thank you both
did.
for who you are as beings. And we call Omashar the Alpha and Omega Man because we always start and end our shows with his music. Take it away, Maestro.
We're good. All right. You'll never walk this way again. Lay down all your guards. Your loving hearts will lead the way. The door is open. The wonderful and the new is waiting patiently. Take the step and you will see all you've been dreaming. 'Cause now is the time you've been waiting for so long. I've been holding you through all ages, knowing I'd be with you once again. You'll never be alone again. Please take my hand in yours. I love you just the way you are. You're my creation. The wonderful and the new is waiting patiently. Take the step and you will see all you've been dreaming. Because now is the time you've been waiting for so long. I've been holding you through all ages, knowing I'd be with you once again. Ba-da-da-da-da. Take a step and you will see all you've been dreaming. Now is the time you've been waiting for so long. I've been holding you through all ages, knowing I'd be with you once again.
That's Twinkle, Beloved Omar Shar. One more time, going to gallery view. Thank you, everybody, for turning on your cameras. Thank you, those of you who move and groove to the music. And thank you, everybody, for being with us.
Holy smoke, Sitara and Oshala, you're a powerhouse. I feel so charged just from your presence. Thank you so much.
They're amazing women.
Thank you, Mashar. Thank you for that. And I listened to those lyrics. Let's take it on, everybody.
Indeed. Thank you so much.
Yeah, blessings.
And truly, I just want to say once again, thank you so much. It's been such an honor to be here with all of you and Oshala to hear what you were doing as well. I'm not too far away, so hopefully I get to see you soon.
Yeah, hopefully you come down and dance or come and eat or dance.
Yeah, Sitara, we're talking about you're coming down and we'll come to farm table dinner and dance together.
That sounds good to me.
All right. Thank you again. Thank you, everybody, for watching. Hope to see you on Saturday night. There's Andrew and Connie. I'm going to bring up our favorite honeymoon couple. Tara and Oshala D, you may not know them, but they are our honeymooners that just got married after
Oh, God, look at you. Blessing.
20-year courtship. And you
Wow.
got in San Francisco. So, Oshala, you'll meet them in San Francisco on the 21st. We'll all be together for that. So, Tara, you
It's
should.
like love knows no age, and it just everything just keeps on flowing. Go on, Andrew and Connie, do your thing. Keep on loving.
All right, everybody. Much love. God's blessings. Hope to see you.